History was just made on the legendary Jeopardy! Stage inside Sony Pictures Studios. It took 3 intense games, but when the final wager was revealed, the number that mattered most wasn't a runaway score or a daily double. It was $250,000, and one name, Paolo Pasco. So, who is this guy? How does a crossword champion become a Tournament of Champions winner? And what exactly happened on that stage that even the producers didn't see coming? Let's go inside the moment that changed everything. Picture this. It's early morning on Robertson Boulevard, the drive toward the studio. Executive producer Michael Davies makes a bold prediction. This is going 3 games, he says. Not a 2-game sweep, 3. He had no idea just how right he'd be, because what unfolded wasn't just a win. It was a masterclass in control, calm, and precision. It was something almost invisible unless you were watching very, very carefully. Deep board dominance. While other players hesitated at the bottom rows, where the hardest clues live, Paolo went there again and again. He never looked frantic. He never looked rushed. From the control room, from the producer's desk, even co-host Serafos thought he looked completely relaxed. But inside, that was a whole different story. You know, that feeling, right? When your confidence on the outside is just a mask for the chaos underneath. Like a duck gliding smoothly across the water, but paddling furiously just below the surface. Paolo admitted it felt exactly like that. Coming into the Tournament of Champions, Paolo wasn't just another contestant. He was a 7-game champion, which earned him a direct ticket into the semifinals. No quarterfinals, no early elimination rounds. But before that, the producers threw him a curveball, an exhibition match, a warm-up. Except it wasn't warm at all. Across from him stood some serious threats, including players like Scott Riccardi, competitors with longer winning streaks who had already proven they could win big. Paolo's last memory of being on that stage was getting outbuzzed over and over again. So as he headed into that exhibition, one thought was looping in his mind. What if I just can't find the rhythm? That fear is so real. Anyone who's ever competed knows that feeling. Sometimes you're on fire, and sometimes you're just not. But what happened next would set the stage for his incredible victory. The exhibition match was a wake-up call. It forced him to confront that fear head-on. Instead of letting the pressure crush him, he used it as fuel. He analyzed his timing, refined his buzzing strategy, and walked into the semifinals not as the nervous player from the warm-up, but as a focused contender. He'd found his rhythm when it mattered most. Now, let's talk about that final 3-game series. It was a nail-biter. Game 1 went to Paolo. Game 2, however, was a different story. His opponent staged a huge comeback, tying the series at 1 game apiece. Everything came down to that 3rd and final game. The pressure was immense. The entire studio was holding its breath. During the commercial breaks, Paolo wasn't strategizing or psyching himself out. He was just trying to stay calm, breathing, and focusing on the board. He knew his deep board strategy was his key to victory. By consistently picking the high-value clues at the bottom, he not only racked up more money, but also controlled the flow of the game, keeping his opponents off balance. Then came Final Jeopardy! The category was revealed, the music started, and it all came down to one last wager. When the answers were shown and the scores were tallied, Paolo Pasco emerged as the champion. From a crossword prodigy to a Jeopardy! Legend. His journey was a testament to how composure under pressure and a brilliant, unconventional strategy can lead to one of history's most memorable wins. It wasn't just about knowing the answers. It was about mastering the game itself. Thanks so much for watching this deep dive into a truly historic moment. If you love stories like this, make sure to like and subscribe for more. We'll see you in the next video. And that might be the most surprising part, because the Tournament of Champions isn't tense in the way regular games are. It's different. Everyone on that stage belongs there. They're all champions. They know each other, they've watched each other's games, and there's this incredible level of mutual respect. It feels competitive, of course, but it also feels that celebratory. You see, there's genuine laughter between the rounds. There are inside jokes flying back and forth. There are these little moments that only former champions could possibly understand. And that unique sense of comfort, that shared experience, it changes everything. It lowers the shoulders. It loosens the grip on the buzzer. It allows the real personalities of these brilliant people to shine through. Take Paolo, for example. His now famous signature doodles became a highlight of the tournament. Yes, on top of winning games, he basically won best signature in the eyes of the fans. In the finale, right, the little burger. It wasn't some deep, strategic move or a symbolic gesture. It was just a moment of pure creativity. A flash of personality in the middle of a high-stakes game. And it stuck. People loved it. Later, he was even spotted wearing a sweatshirt with a burger on it. It just goes to show that sometimes, in the midst of all that intense competition, the smallest, most human details become the most memorable. It's funny, even the great Ken Jennings once celebrated a huge Jeopardy milestone with an In-N-Out burger. Maybe there's just something about burgers that brings good luck on that particular stage. But let's zoom out for a second, because there's another, even bigger tournament looming on the horizon. Jeopardy! Masters, this is the next level up. The Arena of Giants. This is the one broadcast on ABC Primetime. And if you think the Tournament of Champions is elite, Masters is intimidating. Paolo himself describes watching the Masters tournament as a kind of sensory overload. The lights are flashing. The clues vanish from the board almost instantly, and those red times up bars fill the screen before you can even blink. That's the jump in difficulty. And he's the first to admit that preparing for that level is an entirely different beast. The canon of knowledge is bigger. The history you need to know is deeper. And the recall has to be faster than ever. But that challenge, you can tell it excites him. You can feel the energy, the anticipation. It's the ultimate test for the best of the best. So what does it actually take to prepare for Masters? It's not just about cramming facts. It's about building a massive, interconnected web of knowledge. It's history, it's literature, it's science, it's pop culture all at your fingertips. For Paolo, this meant diving into subjects he wasn't as strong in. He talked about creating his own study guides, focusing on areas like classical music composers and world capitals, which are notorious categories on the show. He wasn't just memorizing lists. He was trying to understand the connections, the stories behind the facts. He watched hours and hours of old Masters games, not just to learn the content, but to study the rhythm, the pacing, and the strategies of the players. He was analyzing how legends like James Holzhauer or Matteo Roach approach the board. Where do they hunt for daily doubles? How do they manage their wagers? It's a game of intellectual chess, and every move matters. And then there's the buzzer. The infamous Jeopardy buzzer. It's not just about being the fastest. It's about timing. You can't buzz in until the host finishes reading the clue. Buzz in too early, and you re-locked out for a fraction of a second that can cost you the game at the Masters level. So, practice involves using a replica buzzer, listening to the cadence of the host's voice. and training your thumb to hit that button at the exact perfect moment. It's a physical skill as much as a mental one. You have to build that muscle memory so it becomes second nature. So you're not even thinking about the buzzer, you're just focused on the clue. It's this combination of deep knowledge, strategic thinking, and lightning-fast physical reflexes that separates the champions from the masters. The journey from one stage to the next is a monumental leap. But for players like Paolo, it's the challenge they've been waiting for. Thanks so much for watching. If you're a fan of incredible competitions and amazing displays of knowledge, you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you won't miss our next deep dive. We'll see you in the next video. And that feeling, that nagging sense of incompleteness, wasn't a weakness. It was his greatest advantage. to lean on your preparation. Trust the work you've put in and take that next step, even if it's a small one. So, the next time you feel like an imposter, the next time you're acutely aware of what you don't know, don't see it as a failure. See it as an opportunity. See it as the starting point for real growth. Use that awareness to build your own practice boards. Identifie urbadstemden. Because confidence is great, but confidence built on a foundation of humble, relentless preparation, that's what makes a champion. Thanks for watching, and if this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more stories like this. See you next time. Now, this is where the story gets personal. Because Paolo didn't grow up with this grand plan, thinking, one day, I'm going to win the Tournament of Champions. No, not at all. He grew up just like millions of us. He was a watcher. He watched when the legendary Alex Trebek stood at that iconic podium. He was the guy shouting answers at the TV from his couch. He played along, but it was casual, just for fun. But here's the key difference, the thing that set him on a completely different path. He knew what he didn't know. As a teenager cross-dating, they seemed to require this impossibly vast ocean of knowledge. Gier feature coacheries was also, what he did? He leaned into what felt comfortable. He gravitated toward logic puzzles, things like Sudoku, structured thinking, safe systems with clear rules and definite answers. He stayed in that comfort zone for a long time. Until one specific moment, one event, changed absolutely everything. It was at a crossword tournament final in 2023. The stakes were high. The tension was palpable. 2 words crossed on the grid. The entire game, the victory, hinged on a single, solitary letter, and it was geography crossing geography. A double whammy in a subject he wasn't strong in. He hesitated. Just for a second. But in that second, someone else buzzed in. They got the answer, and just like that, he lost. Now, a moment like that could crush a person. That sting of defeat. It could make you want to quit, to retreat back to the safety of Sudoku forever. But for Paolo, it didn't discourage him. It redirected him. A powerful new thought took root in his mind. If I don't know enough, then I'll learn. That right there, that's the pivot. It wasn't about a stroke of luck. It was a conscious decision. A choice to face the very thing that intimidated him. So, he started studying, seriously studying. He began tracking his scores while watching Jeopardy at home, turning a casual pastime into a training regimen. He started taking the online anytime test, which is the first step to getting on the show. And he took it in the most unexpected places. Picture this. He once took the test in a mall food court. Just imagine that for a second. The future Tournament of Champions winner, sitting there near a pretzel stand, the noise of the mall all around him. Completely focused, taking a high-stakes trivia test on his phone. It's an amazing image, isn't it? It just goes to show you that you truly never know where a journey is going to begin. It doesn't start under stadium lights or on a grand stage. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content just like this. See you in the next one. Let's talk about the money. $250,000. In the world of crossword puzzles, that's a staggering amount. As Paolo himself joked, it's like $1 billion. The prize money in the puzzle community just doesn't compare. But here's the thing, The money isn't really the heart of this story. It's what that money represents that truly matters. It's validation. It's evolution. It's tangible proof of incredible growth. Think about it. The journey from taking the test in a mall food court to becoming a 7-game champion. And then ultimately, the winner of the Tournament of Champions, all within the modern era of the show, is just incredible. That arc might seem like it happened in the blink of an eye, but the foundation was built slowly, meticulously. It was constructed one clue at a time, one letter at a time, with years of dedication behind it. And what about the future? It's looking just as exciting. There are watch parties on the horizon, the exciting possibility of competing in the Masters tournament, and a whole host of creative projects bubbling up. One of his dreams: to recreate that iconic OK Go treadmill music video. Yes, you heard that right. That's Paolo in a nutshell. He's brilliant, a master strategist, but he's never lost that playful, imaginative spark. He's still the same guy who would doodle burgers in the margins of his flashcards. This win wasn't just about answering questions correctly. It was a culmination of a lifelong passion. For Paolo, crossword puzzles were more than just a hobby. They were a world he could dive into, a language he understood fluently. He spent countless hours solving, studying patterns, and even creating his own puzzles. He wasn't just preparing for a game show. He was honing a craft. Every solved puzzle was a small victory, a stepping stone on a much larger path. He learned the rhythm of the clues, the quirks of the constructors, and the beautiful logic that holds a great crossword together. This dedication is what separates a good player from a champion. It's the late nights, the early mornings, the stacks of puzzle books, and the endless online archives. It's the ability to see not just the answer, but the intricate web of words and ideas connecting everything. When he stepped onto that stage, he brought all of that with him. It wasn't just knowledge. It was deep in itself. He was playing. He was performing an art form he had perfected over years. That playful side is just as important as the strategic one. It's what keeps the passion alive. The dream of a treadmill music video isn't just a quirky idea. It's a reflection of a mind that finds joy and creativity in everything. It's a reminder that even at the highest levels of competition, it's essential to have fun, to stay curious, and to never stop dreaming. That balance of serious dedication and lighthearted imagination is what makes his story so compelling. He's a champion who reminds us that success is not just about winning, but about the journey and the joy you find along the way. He proved that you can be a world-class competitor and still be the guy who doodles burgers between flashcards. It's that authenticity that connects with so many of us. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. We'll see you in the next one.